See this description for more details on the story thus far. The Man from Rock Bottom by Stephen Eric Johnson. Excerpt. Midway on our life's journey, I say, though I'm only half talking to her, the rest all for me, steeling myself for what I know is about to come. I find myself in dark woods, the right road lost. I take 2 cleansing breaths, and then I look her in the eyes. I'm going into hell, Miss Doe. Then I blink and look toward the 2 people lying unconscious on the grass. Can you please make sure the peacekeepers take them both in, too? I'm sorry to be such a bother, but, well, I shrug helplessly. They're going to need therapy. She's still figuring out everything I said when I turn from her and walk into the dark of the woods. Another few steps and I found what I was expecting. A hole in the ground, where there was once a manhole or some other plug to cover up the terrible places below, to hide them from the eyes of sanity and cleanliness and right. That opossum baby's gone down there, as I can tell from the tiny tracks in the soft earth leading right up to the edge, too desperate to escape the evil of humanity present to care about the place of a very different sort of evil. Through me you enter into the city of woes, I whisper reverently. Through me you enter into eternal pain. Through me you enter the population of loss. Justice moved my high maker, and power divine, wisdom supreme, love primal. No things were before me, not eternal. Eternal I remain. I pause, then step right up to the edge, soon finding the little handholds I was expecting were set into the side of the access tunnel, drilled straight down to rock bottom, and the dark worlds that lie beneath. This is the place where all the vile sins of humanity poured, ancient and terrible, when our cities were cracked open and brought here and pressed together in more perfect form by a brighter, cleaner, more wonderful sort of people, come from the stars or from heaven to save us, if only we'd let them. But we would not. And so the underworld waits, repository of the darkness within. It will always wait, patiently. Abandon all hope, you who enter here, I say, the words of benediction before I swing myself over the side and start the long climb down. I'd be lying if I said I didn't look up, far up, at the little circle of blue sky high above me, and think back on that scene from The Time Machine where Wells's time traveler's looking up at his last sight of the world above before he lets the Morlock tunnels take him. I waver, just for a moment in my determination. I really hope there's no Morlocks down here. I don't have any good experiences with them. Every time I go into the underworld, I hesitate. That's because whenever I go into that place, where all the bits and pieces that make a place like Sunflower City come together behind the scenes, I always end up leaving bits and pieces of me behind. Incidentally, I'm being literal. Natural creatures roam around down in these dark places, so my job regularly takes me down to find them and bring them up to where they're safe and can be prepared for relocation into the waiting world as it's cleansed from the taint of humanity's end. But there's a lot of creatures down here whose natural status is questionable, at best. Some have said that the hardest parachute jump is the second one, because that's when you know what's coming next. That is a saying that I can confirm in this situation, except this is more like my 60th, starting back when they were first building Sunflower City and had some pest problems that the robots couldn't reach. Under the circumstances, I think I'm allowed a little melodrama. For just the briefest of moments, I consider going back up the ladder and into the light. After all, I had 5 opossum babies and their mother, and that was probably enough living genetic information to save their species, even if my hunch was right and they really were the last of their kind. Then I thought about what it would be like for me in this situation, small and weak and alone and scared. No mommy, no brothers or sisters, alone. except for the big, scary things out in the dark that want to eat me, or maybe just hurt me, because that's what they do, what they are. So much for going back.